Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Hope you are doing well and spending some quality time for your exam preparation. So today we will discuss one special condition that is called Kawasaki disease. I hope some of you have an idea about this condition and you might be practicing questions related to this particular disease. But still I have received some request and suggestion from some of the students to discuss this particular topic. That's why I thought today we will discuss about this one. So what is the meaning or what is coming to your mind when you will listen this word or when you will see this particular word in a question? It is also called as mucocutaneous lymph node syndrome and is usually seen in children below 5 years of age, and it is one of the commonest vasculitis disorder of the children. And in this one you can see in the picture some of the common clinical manifestations that the child usually have. The child develop a 5 days of fever. Sometimes it will be more than 5 days, and there will be a non-exudative bilateral conjunctivitis and mucositis. Then there will be a rash and also lymphadenopathy, that usually cervical lymphadenopathy, that is more than 1.5 centimeters, and the swelling of the extremity, then sometimes erythema of the palm and source of the lower extremity. So these are some of the common clinical manifestations that usually presented with a child when he will come to the emergency department. So when you will see the question scenario, you can see some of the symptoms, and there might be some symptoms you can see as an options. So they will not mention this is particularly Kawasaki disease. So while seeing these options or while seeing this particular surrounding or situation, you can understand, okay, this is Kawasaki disease. So then what is the next main thing that you should keep in your mind? The complication or the main problem that the child have when he diagnosed with the Kawasaki disease, that is the coronary artery aneurysms. This is one of the most serious potential consequences if it's not treated at the right time or not treated in the starting itself. So the initial management and treatment is very necessary to prevent the further complications such as myocardial infarction and death. So keep all this point in your mind. Now we have discussed what is Kawasaki syndrome and what is its other name and what are some of the clinical manifestations. And it is not a contagious disease, even though the problem or the complications or the coronary artery aneurysm, it's life-threatening condition. That's why the precaution and the immediate treatment is very necessary and it's very essential. Now we will move to phases of Kawasaki disease. Usually it have 3 phases. The first one is acute phase. When we will say acute phase, we know that it's a sudden onset or the abrupt onset of high fever that does not respond to any antibiotic or antipyretic. Usually we know that if there is an infection, that usually will respond to antipyretic. If it's a fever, the client or the child will be prescribed with the antipyretics and that will give some effect. But in this condition, these particular antipyretics or the antibiotic will not show much effect on the client's body. There will not be much difference. That means that is not responding. So the child becomes very irritable and develops swollen red feet and hands. Keep this point, the child becomes very irritable and develops swollen red feet and hands. And at the same time the lips become swollen and cracked, and the tongue can also become red like a strawberry tongue. So what is the clinical or what is the nursing intervention mainly connected with this acute phase? We said that the client have a cracked lips and swollen, and also the tongue can be also become red. So what kind of food we will provide? That is the question sometimes related to this particular condition. The food, the child should be given with soft foods and clear liquids. That is very important. Maybe in some question the option will be give, okay, the client will be prescribed or to take soft foods and clear liquids. That might be the correct answer. So we should have an idea, okay, when this food or what is the measurement or what is the particular intervention connected with the acute phase. Okay, now we will move to the second phase, that is called a subacute phase. When we will come to the subacute phase, before we said that the hand and the feet it's swollen and red. When in the subacute phase, that skin that begins to peel and the child remains very irritable. In the acute phase also the child is irritable, and that will be remains the same in the subacute phase. But in the acute phase we see that the hands and the feet are red and swollen. That when coming to the subacute, the skins will be slowly peeling from that areas. Okay, then now we will move to the third phase, that is called convalescent phase. In the convalescent phase, the symptoms disappear slowly. The child temperature returns to normal. We said that the child have fever that will be like usually equal or more than 5 days. So when we'll come to the third phase or convalescent phase, the temperature will be coming to normal, and also the symptoms will gradually disappear slowly. So that's clear. Now we will move to the main management points related to the Kawasaki disease. Before that, we should have an idea about this. The echocardiography is used to monitor these cardiovascular complications. We said that in the Kawasaki disease, the main problem is related to the heart, coronary artery aneurysms, and finally, if not treated, it will go to myocardial infarction and death. So this one we will find out or diagnosed with the help of echocardiography. Actually, there is no particular etiology, or there will not be any particular diagnostic test or blood test for this finding or confirming this disease. But for finding out the complications or the symptoms of coronary artery aneurysm, we are using the echocardiography. Then the intravenous immunoglobulin and aspirin is used to prevent coronary artery aneurysms and subsequent occlusion. So that is the main treatment usually prescribed as an initial one. Intravenous immunoglobulin and aspirin therapy, IVIG and aspirin therapy, that is used to prevent the coronary aneurysm as well as the subsequent occlusion. And then this IVIG creates high plasma oncotic pressure. So this is also another point that is related to some of the questions. You can see in some question scenarios. And the signs of fluid overload and pulmonary edema develops if it's given in large quantities. So we said that if the treatment is IV immunoglobulin as well as the aspirin therapy. So when we are giving this IV immunoglobulin, that will create a high plasma oncotic pressure, and that leads to signs of fluid overload and pulmonary edema. So if you will not take the necessary measure at the earliest phase, it will lead to heart failure. Because when the heart failure, we can see that there is a decreased urinary output and additional heart sounds, tachycardia, difficulty breathing. These all are symptoms showing that there will be a fluid overload in the client, and the client is showing some pulmonary edema. Okay, if these all symptoms are persisting, that means there's a chance of heart failure. So keep those points into your mind. So these are some of the main points related to the Kawasaki disease or mucocutaneous lymph node syndrome, especially seen in children. I hope it's clear. We have discussed the main clinical manifestations as well as the treatment and the main incidence rate, everything. So hope that we'll come with the next part of this video. In that we will include some questions as well as some of the immunization protocol and discharge teaching. So until that time, please study well and review the topic. If you like the way we are discussing the topics and studying the questions in our channel, please like our video and also subscribe our channel. Bye bye.